Even though ebooks and audiobooks are so popular nowadays, lots of people also enjoy real books, and there sort of seems to be a tide going back towards them. So I haven't got any bookmarks, I don't think, on my channel. So I decided to make one, and we can make one together. This is how they look like close by. And we start here and first do the center and then go round and make those picots as well. And at the end, a tassel. And it's also easy to make it longer if you want, because there's a clear repeat here in the middle. The lace that I'm using actually comes mainly from this here very old book that I used in the 60s and early 70s to learn to crochet. It's a book that just has photographs of all different kinds of lace, and learning to crochet like this by looking at the pictures has been so beneficial to me. It really forces you to understand the connection between different stitches and how you work. And I'm using this here one, more or less like this here one. I have made some changes, but this is where I got the idea. This here book shows different ways of using that particular lace, also as center part for a wider lace. A bookmark, of course, takes very little yarn, so you can use just tiny scraps. But I was looking at my stash and had these here. They are all fingering weight, ones that I have had for a long time. Like, I don't know exactly what some of these are, but most of them are full cotton. For the demonstration, I'm going to use this here by the Dutch yarn brand Shape's Verlet. It's mainly cotton and also fingering weight. And my hook is 2.5 millimeter. It's a Clover Amour one. If you want to use actual crochet thread, then you need to take a smaller hook, and of course then also the result will be smaller. Let's start making one then. So starting with a slip knot and a chain 8. Chain 8. And close that into a ring with a slip stitch, and then chain 5 and a double crochet into the ring. I'm using American crochet terms. So 1 double crochet into the ring, then again chain 5 and a double crochet into the ring, chain 2 and 1 more double crochet into the ring. This first time we do that, it's slightly different, but from now we're repeating. Chain 5 and turn, and we will always then make this here group of stitches into this here middle one, this longer loop. First 1 double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. By the way, remember that you can always slow a video down if it seems to be going too fast, or speed it up if I'm going too slow. Chain 5 and a double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet. And this is the repeat of the middle bit here. So we have altogether 4 double crochets, and there's 2 chains there and 5 in the middle to make the longer loop where we go to next time. I'll do it one more time and then we'll repeat the same until it's long enough. So chain 5, turn, and we always skip these here with the 2 chains and only go into the middle one. So a double crochet there, chain 2, double crochet, it split, chain 5, double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet. So this here repeat this sort of a thing in the middle, and then you do the same again, so that you first chain 5 and turn, and then do this here group into this middle one. So not counting this here starting, we now have 2 of these repeats, and do 6 more if you want the same length, so that this here bit comes 8 times. You can of course do it longer if you prefer to have a bigger bookmark. So I'll do 6 more and then come back and we continue. So here we are, 8 times that there bit. If your 4 double crochets are sort of spread out, you could pull them more towards the top of those chain 5 so that they're close together. It looks nicer that way. Now we are at this here spot, and then we start going round it with chains and picots. First a picot here, chain 3, and I normally finish a picot so that I take 2 loops at the base of it here, like that there. So not the chain that we made, but where it started, these 2, and then pull the yarn through, slip stitch, and then chain 7, 7, and skip to this here chain that we used to jump from one of these groups to the next one before turning. So single crochet there and a picot, chain 3, and again I'll take this and this and a slip stitch, and again 7, and then I find the next one here and the same, picot again. And then continue 2 more like that. The last one are too closer together, so we need to check that separately, but skip from here to there and from there to there and make picots. So we're here now, one side done until there, and then we skip into there, but for that we only chain 4 because it's closer. Chain 4, and in this here chain loop and a picot there. And now we need to get to the other side. I prefer not to cut the yarn and start again. Instead, I'm using slip stitches. So slip stitch into those chains and into that ring, and then going round the starting ring. The reason why I don't want to cut the yarn is that it's not easy to hide the yarn in where you mainly have just chains and double crochets in such a way that it doesn't come out or show. So I'm going round here, there, and I need to get to the middle of this here loop. So here and in the middle of this here chain. There, and now a picot. and again chain 7, and skip to the next one. So we're going up that way to the end, just the same way as on the other side. So continue, there's 1, 2, 3 more, and then we finish off with the picot and the last loop on the side there. Here we are, all of that side done, and then I cut the yarn and pull it through with another chain there. And now before we start making the tassel or the long thing, whatever you call it, tail, you could finish off the yarn ends first so they're not on the way. This here bit has been done using the easiest I-cord crochet. So I'll do that now. The tail is about half the length of the actual bookmark or a bit more, but you can of course make it any length. So find the place where we started, so it's this round there thing, loop, and take the yarn and leave a long tail. I always prefer leaving them too long, almost a meter long yard, and well, that's very long now, but anyway. And then take that there and pull the yarn into that there loop, and for the first stitch take both yarns and make a stitch. Now, well, for the short one it doesn't matter which yarn you are basically using, but I'll do it the official way. This here is the yarn tail, and that comes from the ball of yarn. And what we are simply doing is a chain that you strengthen with a yarn over, with that yarn under. You put the hook in between and put the yarn on it, and then make a stitch. I have this on quite a number of different videos, and I also use this kind of I-cord as a starting chain at times. So always like that there. First round like that, and then so continue like that until this here is long enough, at least the length of half of the actual bookmark. And don't cut the yarn ends because we need them for tying the tassel. So continuing like that. Here, and then now you can cut the yarns, but leave the tails long enough that they are very comfortable to tie, so not too short. I cut them there. And then pull the stitch through. And then take the yarn again, and I'm winding it round 3 fingers, 10 times round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can do it bigger, of course, if you like. And then cut. And then take it like that and set it in the middle there and tie these 2 round it first. I would always tie everything of this sort first one way and then putting the yarns the opposite way. That way you can be sure that it's going to last. There, and then we need to tie them so that they go downwards like that. I'm making the tie from this here by making this like a horsetail knot close to that there, like 1 centimeter, the width of your little finger, and knot there, and then spreading hard to get the rest of it and tying that round those. I'm sure you probably have better ways. If you need to make tassels often, you probably have better ways. So that on the other side, put them on both sides. I've seen ways to make tassels so that you use something like a fork or whatever, or tie it to somewhere so that it's easier to do, but this will do for now. And then tie it and tighten, and again the opposite way, and use sharp scissors to cut it. Mine actually could have been a bit longer than just over 3 fingers, but anyway. So here we are now. I have finished this off by wetting them through and setting them, and depending on what yarn you are using, you could carefully iron it through something while it's wet. Hope you enjoy making some in many different colors. These are quick to learn by heart after you have done 1 or 2. You may have noticed the book that I have on the video thumbnail. It's this here, very old one, well, very old. It's a Finnish one, says a woman's book. And I wanted to use this because this is something that I remember so well from my childhood. My mother had had it before her marriage. This has been printed in 1956. And for a book from 50s, it's quite sort of modern in many ways. I was looking through some of the things of it today. For instance, it explains how you go about to get funding for studying abroad. And as another example, it stresses the fact that you would bring up children in a very positive way, not with punishments and talking down on them and that sort of things. So I just wanted to bring that book as part of this video as well. Till next time.